You are not a soldier. You are a software engineer. 31 years old. You work for a tech company in the Israeli towers, the 3 glass skyscrapers you can see from almost anywhere in Tel Aviv. You write code for a fintech platform that processes payments across 17 countries. Your work is clean, digital, abstract. The most violent thing you do in a day is delete bad code. You have an apartment in Florentin, the artsy neighborhood in the south of the city. Exposed brick. A small balcony where you grow tomatoes. You have a girlfriend named Liat who teaches primary school in Jaffa. You have a cat named Boker, which means morning in Hebrew because he wakes you up every day at 6 regardless of your alarm. You grew up in Tel Aviv. You did your mandatory military service at 21, 2 years in a signals intelligence unit. You were not a combat soldier. You sat in a room with headphones and a computer. You were good at it. But you left that life behind. You are a civilian now. You pay taxes. You go to the farmer's market on Friday mornings. You argue about football. You have lived your whole life under the possibility of this moment. Every Israeli has. The sirens, the shelters, the iron dome streaks across the night sky. You grew up running drills. You know the route to the building shelter the way you know the route to the bathroom in the dark. Muscle memory of survival. But knowing the possibility of something and living inside it are 2 entirely different countries. Tonight you are about to cross the border between them. It is a Tuesday in late February. 11:14 p.m. You are on your couch with Liat. She is grading her students' drawings. There are small crayon suns and lopsided houses spread across your coffee table. You are watching a series on Netflix you have already seen. A glass of red wine on the side table. Boker asleep in the space behind your knees. Your phone is on the armrest. It buzzes with a news alert. You glance at it the way you glance at all news alerts now, with the specific numbness that develops in people who live in a country that produces news every single hour. You have learned to triage. Minor escalation. Diplomatic statement. Rocket fire in the south. These things have a weight you have calibrated over years. This alert is different. It is from 3 sources simultaneously. Channel 12. The Times of Israel. And the IDF official account. That combination has a specific meaning. When all 3 move at the same time in the same second, it is not a minor escalation. You sit up. The alerts say, Iran has launched a ballistic missile strike. Multiple warheads. Estimated impact zone. Central Israel including Tel Aviv metropolitan area. Impact in approximately 11 minutes. 11 minutes. Not 11 days. Not 11 hours. 11 minutes. Liat looks up from her papers. She sees your face before she sees her own phone. She says, what? It is not a question. It is a recognition. She is Israeli too. She was born in Haifa. Her father served in the 1982 Lebanon War. She knows your face when it is showing something real. You turn the phone to show her. She reads it. You watch her read it. You watch the exact sequence of emotions cross her face in about 4 seconds. Confusion, comprehension, fear, and then something harder than fear. Something functional. Israelis have a word for it. They call it bidashon. A kind of pragmatic inner fortification. It is not bravery. It is the specific quality of a people who have learned that panic costs you the seconds you need. She is already standing. She says, shelter. Now, take the bag. There is a bag by the front door. There is always a bag by the front door. Every Israeli household that takes the situation seriously has one. Yours has been there since you moved into this apartment 4 years ago. You have topped it up twice. It has water. It has a flashlight. It has a small first aid kit. It has a portable phone charger. It has copies of both your ID documents in a waterproof sleeve. It has a 3-day supply of non-perishable food. It has a small radio. You grab the bag. Liat grabs Boker. The cat is awake now, disturbed by the sudden energy in the room, squirming in her arms. You are out the door and into the stairwell in 45 seconds from the moment you read the alert. The building shelter is in the basement. In Hebrew it is called a mamad or a miklat. A fortified room with reinforced walls designed to absorb blast pressure. Every building in Israel built after a certain year is required to have one by law. Yours is a 1990s building. The shelter is small. Painted gray. Fluorescent light. Metal door with a rubber seal that you turn a large wheel to close completely. There are plastic chairs stacked against one wall. A water tap. A drain in the floor. That is all. You have been in this room for drills 3 times in 4 years. It always felt like theater. A civic obligation performed without genuine fear. A fire drill you knew was not a fire. Tonight the seal on the door sounds different when you close it. There are 11 other people in the shelter when you arrive. Your downstairs neighbor Miriam, 73 years old, in a housecoat and slippers, holding a small prayer book. The young couple from the third floor, Daniel and Yael, Yael visibly pregnant, Daniel's arm around her, his jaw set. The teenage boy from the top floor, Eitan, 16, alone because his parents are not home. His mother is at a friend's, his father is at work somewhere in the north, his phone is going to voicemail. He stands against the wall trying to look unafraid. The family from the second floor, the Mizrachis, husband, wife, 2 children under 10, the younger one starting to cry, the older one watching the adults' faces to calibrate how scared to be. 12 people. 1 shelter. Fluorescent light humming overhead. You check your phone. 7 minutes. You are suddenly aware of the specific texture of this moment. The physical details assert themselves with strange intensity. The smell of the shelter, concrete dust, old metal, Miriam's lavender perfume. The sound of the younger Mizrachi child crying and then being quietly shushed. The feeling of the plastic chair seat under you. Liat's hand finding yours in the low light. The cat Boker pressing his face into Liat's neck. The mind does this in extreme moments. It catalogs. It records. Every detail becomes hyperspecific because some part of you knows this is a line. Before and after. The mind is archiving the before while it still exists. 5 minutes. You have been in range of missiles before. The rockets from Gaza, from Hezbollah. You have run to shelter from those. Rockets are terrifying in their own way. But a ballistic missile from Iran is a different category. It is not a rocket fired from 30 kilometers. Iran is 1,700 kilometers from Tel Aviv. A ballistic missile from that distance carries a warhead designed specifically for structural destruction. It travels at speeds that make interception a mathematics problem with very small margins. You know this because you were in signals intelligence. You know this because you have read the briefings that filter into public knowledge. You know what these things are designed to do. You also know about Arrow. Arrow 3, Israel's highest-tier missile defense system designed specifically to intercept ballistic threats in the exoatmosphere, in space, before they re-enter. You know about David's sling below it. You know about Iron Dome below that. You know there are layers. You know the engineers who built them are extraordinarily good at their jobs. But you also know the word salvo. You know what it means when an adversary fires not one missile but many. The mathematics of interception have limits. When the number of incoming warheads exceeds the capacity of the defense layers, some get through. Some. That word has never felt so specifically weighted. 3 minutes. You hear it before the alert tells you it has started. A sound you have no category for. Not an explosion yet. Something prior to that. A deep resonance in the air, below normal hearing range, felt more in the chest than heard by the ears. The building itself seems to shift its posture, as if bracing. Then the Iron Dome guns start. You cannot see them from the shelter but you have heard them before and you know the sound. A rapid heavy thumping, mechanical and rhythmic, like a giant knocking on a door very fast. The interceptors going up. Then the first detonation. It is far enough away that the shelter walls absorb it. But it is not abstract. The fluorescent light flickers. The metal door vibrates in its frame. Miriam opens her prayer book and begins reading without looking up. The younger Mizrachi child has stopped crying because the sound has entered a register beyond crying. Liat's hand tightens on yours. Daniel has his phone raised, trying to get signal to call Yael's doctor. No signal. He puts the phone down. He puts both arms around Yael. She is counting. You realize she is counting contractions. She has been having them since you came downstairs and said nothing because there was nothing to say. A second detonation. Closer. Much closer. The light cuts out entirely. In the darkness for 3 seconds there is no sound except breathing and the mechanical churning of the defense gun somewhere above the city. Then the emergency light comes on. Red. Dim. Everything in the shelter turns the color of an old photograph. A third impact. This one is close enough that the floor moves. Not a tremor. A single sharp displacement like the ground has hiccuped. Dust comes from somewhere in the ceiling. Small. Particulate. It drifts down through the red emergency light like snow. The older Mizrachi child, a boy of about 8, reaches up and catches some of it in his hand. He looks at it. He looks at his father. His father says quietly, "It is okay. The room is strong. We are okay." His voice is steady. His face in the red light is not entirely convincing but it is the best face a father can make and his son decides to accept it. You look at Liat. She is looking at the door. Thinking. You know what she is thinking because you are thinking it. She has 12 students in Jaffa. She is thinking about whether they have shelter. She is thinking about the small ones, the 6-year-olds, whether their parents got to them in time. You squeeze her hand. She looks at you. You have nothing to offer except your presence, and you offer all of it. Eitan, the 16-year-old, is still standing against the wall. His phone is still going to voicemail. His mother's phone. His father's phone. Both. He is trying a third number now. An aunt maybe. His face has moved past the performance of being unafraid. He is just afraid now. Openly. A boy of 16 alone in a shelter in a city that is being struck from the sky. You stand up. You go to the wall beside him. You say nothing. You just stand next to him. He looks at you once. He nods. He keeps trying the number. You stay next to him. The guns run for 22 minutes. You count the impacts you can feel through the shelter floor. Definitive, distinct impacts. 7. There are more sounds than 7, but only 7 translate through the reinforced concrete as clear single events. The others are interceptors, you tell yourself. Most of them are interceptors. The Iron Dome and David's sling working. The math holding. Most. At minute 23 the guns slow. Then stop. The shelter is completely quiet except for breathing. You do not know what that silence means. It could mean the salvo is over. It could mean the defense systems are reloading. It could mean something has happened to the defense systems. Silence after that kind of sound is not inherently safe. Silence after that kind of sound is just silence. Nobody moves. Then your phone, which has had no signal for 20 minutes, gets 1 bar. 1 bar. The alerts come in as a flood, all the notifications that stacked up while underground. You read them in order. Multiple ballistic missiles intercepted over the Tel Aviv area by Arrow and David's sling. Confirmed impacts in at least 4 locations in the metropolitan area. Fires reported in Holon. Partial building collapse reported in Bat Yam. Reports of casualties. Emergency services active across the city. Government advising all civilians to remain in shelters until further notice. Secondary wave possible. Stay down. Stay in. Secondary wave possible. Those 2 words reformat the room. Eitan finally gets through to his aunt. He turns to face the wall. His shoulders shake once. Then he straightens them. Then he speaks normally into the phone. He is 16 years old, telling his aunt he is fine in a voice that is almost convincing. Yael tells Daniel that the contractions are 7 minutes apart. She says it the way she would say the train is 6 minutes away. Practical. Present. Daniel looks at you over her head. You look back. Everyone in the shelter understands the new equation. She cannot go to a hospital right now. The hospitals are receiving casualties. The streets are not cleared. There is a secondary wave possible. You open the bag. The first aid kit. The water. The portable radio. You hand water to everyone. You turn the radio on. It finds a signal. The national emergency broadcast is running. A calm professional voice reading coordinates and instructions. Shelter positions. Emergency line numbers. Updates on interception rates. The voice is trained for exactly this. It is the most Israeli thing you have ever heard. The practiced calm of a nation that wrote these protocols because it had to. Miriam has not stopped reading her prayer book. She has not looked up once. She does not appear to be afraid. You do not know if this is faith or if she has simply lived long enough to have been through enough versions of this that fear has been replaced by something more durable. You find her calming in a way you cannot entirely explain. You sit with this for a long time. You think about your parents. Your mother is in Ramat Gan, less than 10 minutes from where you are sitting. She called you twice before the signal dropped. You could not get through. You do not know if she reached the shelter in her building in time. You know her building. You know where her shelter is. You know she has done the drills. You tell yourself this. You repeat it because it is all you have. Your father is in Netanya, north of the city. Probably safer than where you are. Probably. You tell yourself this too. Liat is thinking about the same things. Her parents are in Haifa. Her sister is in Jerusalem. The geography of everyone you love suddenly becomes a tactical map. Where are they? What buildings? What shelters? Are they underground? You think about the 8-year-old Mizrachi boy who caught the dust in his hand and looked at it with curiosity. You think about what his world will look like for the next 10 years. 20. What the word security means to a child who was 8 years old in a red-lit shelter when the floor moved. You think about what it does to a generation. Not all at once but slowly. The way it deposits something in the bedrock of how they understand the world. You think about Liat students. Crayon suns on paper. Lopsided houses. The second wave does not come. At 1:47 a.m., the national emergency broadcast announces that no further launches have been detected. The IDF is confirming air superiority. Citizens may exercise discretion about leaving shelters but are advised to remain for at least another hour. The city is under curfew until further notice. Emergency services are operating. More information at 6 a.m. You stay in the shelter until 3. When you open the door and come out into the building stairwell, the smell of the city has changed. You can smell it through the building's ventilation. Something chemical and distant. Smoke. The specific smell of a city that has absorbed violence. Tel Aviv has smelled like ocean and coffee and exhaust for your entire life. Tonight it smells like this. You stand on your small balcony. The sky over the south of the city is orange in one place. Emergency helicopters visible as moving lights. Somewhere a siren, not a missile siren, an ambulance. Then another. The framework of emergency services doing what they trained to do. The city is still standing. Most of it. In the morning you find out. 6 confirmed impact sites across the metropolitan area. The Iron Dome and David's Sling intercepted 41 of the 47 missiles launched. 41 of 47. By any engineering standard, a remarkable number. A number that represents extraordinary human skill and extraordinary investment and extraordinary determination to protect. 6 got through. 6 out of 47. The mathematics of that ratio will be discussed in parliaments and militaries and engineering rooms around the world for years. The ratio will be called a success by defense analysts. By the people who lost someone inside the 6, the ratio will have a different name. Preliminary reports, 38 dead. Over 200 wounded. One apartment building in Holland sustained a direct impact. 12 people in that building did not make it to the shelter in time. You sit with that number. 12 people who had 11 minutes and did not have 11 minutes. 12 people who were on couches, in beds, in bathrooms, in kitchens. 12 people who had bags by their doors or didn't. 12 people for whom the muscle memory was not fast enough or the building shelter was not close enough or the alert reached them 1 minute too late. 38 total. You are not among them. You do not know what to do with that. Liat students are all accounted for. She gets the message at 7 a.m. from the school principal. All 31 of her students reached shelter. She reads the message and then she sits down on the kitchen floor and she cries for about 2 minutes. Not dramatically. Just the release of what she was carrying since 11:14 the night before. Boker walks across the kitchen and sits in her lap. Cats do not understand geopolitics. Cats understand laps. She holds him. Your mother is fine. Your father is fine. Liat's parents are fine. Her sister is fine. Yael delivered her baby at Ichalov Hospital at 4:37 in the morning. A girl. Daniel texted the building group chat a photo at 5 a.m. Tiny face. Eyes closed. Born into this specific night, this specific city, this specific moment in history. They named her Shakar. It means dawn. You go back to work 3 days later. The Azrieli towers are still standing. Your company sends an email about remote work options and mental health resources and the importance of community. Your team has a video call. Your colleague Noah, who lives in Bat Yam, was 2 streets from an impact site. She is on the call. She looks tired. She says she is fine. You believe her partially. You write code. You fix a bug in the payment processing module. You respond to emails. The fintech platform processes payments across 17 countries. Most of those countries did not have a Tuesday night like yours. You write your code and somewhere a payment processes in Amsterdam, in Toronto, in Singapore. The world continues its commerce. You take a longer route home. You walk past the street in Florentin where a building has a new crack in its facade from the pressure wave of a nearby impact. Not hit. Just cracked. Structurally sound. Someone has taped a small Israeli flag over the crack. You stand in front of it for a moment. You are not a soldier. You are a software engineer. You grow tomatoes on your balcony. You argue about football. You have lived your whole life under the possibility of this moment and now you have lived inside it and come out the other side. You do not feel triumphant. You do not feel destroyed. You feel exactly like what you are. A civilian in a country that has no choice but to continue. A person who was on a couch with a glass of wine when the world changed and who got to the shelter in 45 seconds and who is still here. You go home. Liat is making dinner. Boker is on the balcony, sitting between the tomato plants, watching the street below. The city outside smells like ocean again. Almost.